Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Everyday October, day 12. Today, we're going to be talking about my favourite palettes from some of my favourite eyeshadow brands. Today, I thought I'd pull out my absolute favourite products, and we're going to talk about them. Okie dokie, so we are going to start off with by Beauty Bay. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these by Beauty Bay palettes are limited edition. All of the 16 pans are limited. But today I had to pick this one as my favourite. This is Wilderness. This is just such a stunning colour story. Unfortunately, I don't use this one a lot on my channel just because it is limited edition, but some of the shimmers in here, I mean this one called Lime is one of my favourites. You've got some really beautiful like deep reds. I love the Beauty Bay formula overall, but I just think this is their best colour story. Although to be fair, I have just used the new Celestial Charms, which is went up for day 8, so I will leave that in the description box, and I do really love that one. Okay, next up, Blend Bunny. It absolutely had to be Law. This one is my absolute favourite. I love how deep it goes. These shimmers are incredible. I love the fact we've got pastels in here as well. I know so many people love the Surge and they love the blends, but for me, this one from Blend Bunny is just a cut above the rest. I do also love the Sugar and Grunge, but I think for me this one just takes the top spot. It's beautiful. All Blend Bunny's formula is beautiful, but I just love the colour story of this one, and I think it's great for this time of year because you can go so dark and deep with it. Okay, next up I wanted to talk about Anastasia, and this one shocked me, but when I sat and I thought about it, it's got to be Soft Glam. It's just my absolute favourite neutral palette, like warm toned neutral palette. The shades are just so versatile. You can do a lot with it considering it is a neutral palette. The formula is beautiful. Everything blends really nicely. You've got the lightest to the darkest. The shimmers are really pretty. They're not anything like, they're not special shades, but I think they're really beautiful shimmers. And I just couldn't put anything else top. I did think about potentially putting the Jackie Aina top, but I use more of the shades in this one, if that makes sense. Okay, Odin's Eye was really, really tough. I was really torn between the Christmas Eve and this one. But in the end, this one won. It's the Jewels and Gems palette. I love this one. The shimmers in here are absolutely phenomenal. You've got kind of a duochrome, like white taupey reflect. You've got this beautiful kind of pewter grey. You've got High, which is like a yellowy green reflecty shade, and then you've got Swoon, can't read, which is like a beautiful duochrome white to green to peach to just all the tones. And I love the tone of this palette. I think it's a bit different. It's a very cool tone, but there is still some warmth in there. I think this is a really fun palette, and I just think quality wise and cohesiveness wise, it's just my favourite from Odin's Eye. Not that any, to be fair, of my Odin's Eye palettes from the past 3 years have been bad quality. I just love that one. Okay, this is quite a new one to my collection. This is Artitude Metamorph. For me, this colour story is so me. I love the Apposition and the what's the other one called? I can't remember. The Man-Eater. That's what it's called. But for me, this is definitely more my colour story. This shade here, Cocoon, is absolutely incredible. Metamorph is a gorgeous, like, shifty green. For me, this is Artitude at its finest. I absolutely love this colour story. And like I said, it's just a bit more me. It's a bit more colourful, a bit more wild, and a bit more crazy. Alright, okay, you will know this one if you watched my Cosmic Brushes ranking. This is Delicious Delights, by far my favourite. It's beautiful. We've got this gorgeous duochrome called Sprinkles in here, which is like pink to green to yellow. And just the pastel tones, but it's got a bit of something to deepen up with. The only shade I don't particularly ever use in this one is Gingerbread, but everything else is beautiful. This one is called Delicious, and it's just a really pretty, like, shifty white to pink to kind of lilac. This palette is just, this is, for me, if I were to build my own palette, it would look something like this. Not exactly like this, but it'd be on these kind of veins of brights and pastels. Okay, another semi-neutral one. This is my favourite from Natasha Denona. This is the Sunset palette. Unfortunately, this is one of the expensive ones because it's me, and of course that would be one of my favourites. But I just think for Natasha Denona, this one has the best colour story. The mattes are incredible. It's got all the shades from kind of a light to dark that you would need. I find a lot of Natasha Denona palettes these days either like missing things from the light edge, missing things from the dark end, whereas this one's just got everything. I do love the formula. It is no different to the normal formula, but I just think it's got some more pigment in it. I find, especially like the pastel palette, didn't like that one at all, and the shades just didn't have enough pigment for me, whereas they're so pigment rich in this. This feels like a luxury eyeshadow palette. And then the final brand I wanted to mention is P. Louise. Again, another one I was really torn. I was really torn between, does this come in pink? But at the end of the day, I went for this one because it's something a little bit more different. This is the Money Shot palette. You will not be able to see the front of that because of the lights. It's got like coins in it that like move about. I don't know why. But basically, this has got a drawer. So this bottom drawer is like a grungy green story. I love this shade here called Production. This shade called Script is stunning. I always love the embossing on P. Louise palettes. It's so cute. But this is kind of your like neutral grungy greens. And then you open up the top of the palette and you've got all your kind of traditional greens, so your bright greens and your very, very dark greens, teals. There's a bit of lime in here. This shade here called Hard Cash is like a minty duochrome. This is just a gorgeous palette. I do not love the packaging. It's just so big and so bulky, but I think it's just something a bit different. Like, you don't ever get all of these green tones together. I think especially on the kind of like more like neutrally muddy, messy greens, which I really enjoy. You know, we've got plenty of like baby puke shades, which I love. So like this one here called Polaroid and this one called High Definition. They're both kind of that like baby puke shade that I just love. So yeah, I think that one's really different. As beautiful as the pink palette is, it is just a pink palette and it's very similar to multiple other ones in my collection. Whereas I thought with this one, even like the Beauty Bay Earthy palette, it's just not quite the same. And yeah, I love this one. It's such a good one. And P. Louise's formula is always gorgeous. Oh no, my biscuits. So that is it for today's video. I'd love to know what your favourite palettes are from these brands. What's a brand you love and what's your favourite palette? Let me know in the comments. I do hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me, hit subscribe, and if you want to make sure you never miss another video, hit the bell icon and YouTube will notify you next time I post. You've been fabulous. I've been Coleoftheball, and I'll see you next time. Bye!